Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of the Bear Pit. Today, we've got a couple topics for you, but the first one that we're going to start with is discussing standard mode because it's something that we talked about briefly in the last episode, but neither me or rkryptic had played it, and there's been a lot of complaints about standard mode or things not going so well in there. So we're going to talk about what's happening in standard mode, what people have said, what rkryptic's experience has been because I still haven't played it, and how would we potentially improve it. After that, we're going to move on to another discussion, which is some of the heroes that we've seen kind of rise, above others in the ranked mode. If you're trying to rank up, which heroes should you be playing, and maybe discuss the concept of agency a little bit, because I think a lot of the heroes that are best for climbing also have the highest amount of agency, which is essentially just control over the game. And then, we've got a bunch of other miscellaneous topics, life updates, things that are coming up, and we'll touch on also there was a Deadlock LAN happening that happened this weekend, so we'll touch on that a little bit. How you doing, rkryptic?
I am good. Hello. Yeah, it's again been a busy week, but finally got my chance to get back on Deadlock after so many weeks of being kind of stuck doing Dota stuff. So now
Yeah.
I'll be able to kind of talk a little bit about the standard mode, and it was one of those things where I read a ton of comments and a ton of threads about standard mode, and looking at our last video, a lot of people were commenting about how standard mode is like the worst experience they've had in Deadlock. Um, so we'll kind of dive a little bit into that,
Yeah.
today. But I think overall, I'm feeling good. It's been good.
Yeah, you're casting TI soon. For those of you that didn't
Yep.
know, I mean it's announced, right? We don't need to keep it a secret
Yeah.
anymore or anything like that. In one of one of the previous episodes, if you guys watch closely, I dropped a little nugget. I didn't say it obviously, but I was like, hey, he's got something coming up. You guys will see. So yeah, I mean, big congratulations to you. For those of you that don't know, TI is essentially the biggest Dota 2 tournament. It's very prestigious event. So, being talent there or competing there or just being involved with the event at all is a huge deal in the Dota sphere. So massive congrats to you. That's super hype. Where are the people going to be able to see you if they want to catch you? Is there like a specific schedule that you'll be casting?
Yeah, so rehearsals are tonight. So tonight we're gonna run through everything, and then tomorrow will be day one of group stage. So if you're a Dota fan
Yep.
and you want to watch, there will be, to my knowledge, four streams running at the exact same time. So I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure they haven't given me the list of channels, but it should be like PGL Dota 1 and then PGL Dota 2, 3, or PGL Dota A maybe, and then BCD. Um,
Okay.
so something like that.
And
So
then you'll
we'll
be on one of those.
yeah, I'm gonna be on one of those, but I'm always the early shift, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Since it's in
Okay.
China, so it's starting 10 a.m. Shanghai Standard Time, which
Right.
is like 7 p.m. my local time here on the West Coast. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm on first shift, which will be
You're
rotating like
basically on night shift for NA
yeah,
standards.
night shift, yeah,
Yeah.
for NA. So if you guys are up
Yeah.
late in
Night shift
North
for NA.
America and you're a Dota fan, you can come watch the Dota International. That'll be this week. At least the group stage is
That's
starting
awesome.
this week. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, group stages. Yeah, I mean, I think it's TI is always my favorite tournament to watch. So even if you're just a deadlock player, like definitely check it out. It's also cool to, I like seeing like other MOBAs perspective and like seeing how tournaments are handled and like how the meta is and stuff. And I think that, considering the Valve made both Dota and Deadlock, there's a lot of similarities that you can draw. And so just watching Dota gameplay can help you like understand why certain things are the way that they are in Deadlock, um, including kind of like the support role. The evolution of the support role, I would say, is
Yeah.
largely, well, I mean, there's no roles in Deadlock, but like how supports have been treated, I think, are mostly from things that they've learned from Dota, where nobody really enjoys just kind of being an e kitten and essentially being kind of like your team's bitch, like and just doing whatever your team needs at your own self sacrifice. But that could be a whole topic in and of itself.
Yeah.
Speaking of watching things, though, I did watch the Odyssey yesterday.
Dude, oh my god, I cannot. I didn't know. I
Yeah,
didn't know. Did you see it in IMAX? Did you see how did
yeah,
you
I saw it in 70 millimeter. So I saw it in the biggest format. Dude, the screen is huge.
It's
It's
enormous.
like so tall. Yeah, it's massive. And I loved it. I thought it was great. Um,
S tier. S tier movie.
yeah, Really
I
good movie. I mean, it was like 3 hours, but it went by really quick, right? Like,
yep.
I didn't feel like it was, if anything, the pacing was like quick, right? Because there's just so much stuff to get through. So, highly recommend. And I think obviously it was cool to see it in 70 millimeter, but I think there's a lot of FOMO around it. So, if you haven't seen it yet, just like see it in whatever format you can in theaters, honestly. Like, if you
Yeah.
can just see it in theaters, that's good enough. Like, I know not everybody has access to a 70 millimeter projector because they're pretty rare.
They're super rare.
And yeah, they're pretty rare, and on top of that, they're, like, super booked out, right? Like, the first booking that I was able to get was yesterday, and I bought my tickets, like, 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah, I bought
So,
mine the day the movie came out in theaters, and I got to
yeah.
see it on August 7th. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
it
So,
was, quite a while.
and especially, like, with the IMAX screens, right, you don't wanna be sitting in front because the screen is so tall, so it's like if you're
Yeah.
sitting in the front rows, you're kinda screwed. I was actually surprised how many people were willing to be in the front rows, like, in my screening, the front rows were also, like, pretty packed, and I was like,
Did
"Oh
you
my
see it on
god,"
the
like, you're
weekend?
gonna be, like no, I saw it yesterday at 10:15 AM. That's what I'm telling you. Like
Dude,
I
okay, that's what I don't understand. Mine was Friday at, like, noon.
yeah,
Like
I went for like the unemployed showing, 10:15 AM on a Monday.
yeah,
So I was like I can get this because obviously I'm self-employed, so I can do whatever I
yeah.
want with my schedule. One of the benefits. But yeah, it was awesome. Highly recommend anyone watch it. And yeah. Otherwise, let's get into some deadlock. Enough about us.
Dude, I could talk about the
Let's talk
Odyssey for the
about
whole podcast, so yeah, we need to
Yeah, we could we
switch.
could
We
talk
need to
about the
switch.
Odyssey. It's cool, but we'll talk about Deadlock instead because some of you guys probably don't care about the Odyssey, and that's completely fine. So standard mode. Now, let's set the table with kind of like what has happened, why it's happened. So Valve split the queues between ranked and standard. This is something that they had done in the past, to be clear. This is not the first time. For those of you that are kind of new, you may think that this is the first time this happened. It happened before, shortly after the NDA was dropped. So I believe in like around September or October 2024, the
That
queues
sounds
were
right.
split for a brief period of time. I think it was only a couple months. And essentially, they put them back together because honestly, the game just wasn't ready for ranked at that time. But they've decided to revisit splitting the queues again, with the idea that hey, let's make ranked more transparent. Let's make the ranked system like actually make sense, right? Like now, it's not like you win 2 games, lose 1 game, you de-rank. Now it's actually transparent. It's got a point system, etc. And so, hey, if you really care and you want high quality matches, you go to ranked. And if you just want to chill and not take it too seriously, you go to standard. And that's basically the idea. And the only thing is that they made it so that if you want to play ranked, you need to have 60 wins total. And you also need to have 3 heroes with 15 wins each. And for any hero that you want to play in ranked, you need to have 15 wins on that hero. So
Yeah.
you kind of need to play standard no matter what if you want to unlock a new hero. Um, Now let's talk about your experience playing standard because I haven't played
Sure.
standard. I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I haven't played it. So I think it'd be best to hear it from someone that's been playing it recently. So how have your matches been in standard?
So here's the thing, like this is all just anecdotal, right? This is all just my
Yeah, of
experience, so it's not exactly the same as
course, yeah.
everyone's. My games are all high Oracle. So my
Sure.
last the I think every game I've played so far, except for one because I was playing with like two other people who were maybe a little bit lower rank. All of mine were like average Oracle 5, Oracle 6 lobbies. So decently ranked, but this is like a rank that's like kind of chaotic right now because there's just a lot
Yeah.
of like a ton of ranks smashed in there, so you don't really know. Um,
Hmm.
so in terms of like my quality of game, it still might be on average better than maybe some of the lower ranks. But there's a few things I've learned. There's a few things I've learned and a few things I've noticed, and I'm kind of I've got a couple things or a couple ideas maybe in terms of how it can be improved. But I will say this. The games feel slow when like that's the first thing
Mm.
I noticed when I'm in standard mode is there is no like sense of urgency in the game. Like people are just kind of like running around doing their own thing. There's very little comms and there's not like a lot of like intent behind the things people are doing. They
Right.
just kind of like they just show up or they don't, and they don't say anything, and that you win or you lose sometimes. I I think that was the first thing I noticed
Hmm.
immediately. Like the
Okay.
the difference in kind of having a plan and trying to do something in ranked where people are like calming and they're like, "Hey, we have rift coming up in this, we have earn coming up. Like, do we want to fight this? Do we not?" In standard mode, it's just crickets. Like no one says anything. Like no one's playing, and that was kind of like a
Yeah.
weird change for me. Um, and then the first time someone opens
Okay.
their mouth is to like flame another hero or another player, right? And then
Classic.
it's just like, all right, what can you do? Um,
Hmm.
so I think that was like the immediate kind of experience difference between ranked and standard. Like at least coming from last patch, right, where the rank or the queues weren't split, right? Even
Yeah.
there was a lot of I would say a lot more uh kind of speed being pushed into the games, and maybe this is like
Yeah.
partly due to the squish in the rank where it's like some people in my rank are actually low phantom or like previous low phantom or actually oracle
Yeah.
players, whereas
Hmm.
I was in eternus previously, so I was playing in eternus average lobbies, so um maybe that has something to do with it. It's hard to say, but in general that was yeah, that one caught me off guard a little bit. I was like, this game just feels like boring. I like no one's doing anything.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So, I mean, I'm not that surprised about what you said there in the sense that it kind of makes sense, like, okay, so if you split the queues, standard mode is obviously going to be like, there's going to be two types of people that are going to play standard, right? One is the type of people that are just trying to unlock the requirements for ranked. And the second type is going to be the people that just have no interest in ranked
Yeah,
or don't really care like at that point, or they want to queue. I guess there would be a third type, which is people that just want to play with friends at that time, right?
I was gonna say that
So
one.
like
Yeah,
let's say for example, like there was something that I can do now that I couldn't do before, which is there's a group of friends that I met through like the Sage Am Slam and stuff that like play Deadlock pretty often, and they would 5 or 6 stack. And I could never play with them, right? Because I'd be like, well, I don't know.
yeah,
It's just kind of like I don't want to just be like a turn of 6 and just hop in their lobby and all that stuff, and like you know but now there's a standard mode and it's like, oh well, it's acceptable for me to 6 stack with them, right? Like if I play standard, nobody can say anything and I can play with friends. I can play with friends of any rank in standard mode, and it's fine, right? Like, I mean, if people complain about that, they just need to get a life at that point, because like,
yeah.
what am I supposed to do, right? Like, I mean, that is literally the mode to do that stuff.
That's why it
So
exists.
yeah, exactly. That's why it exists, right? As far as like it being like slower and less serious and people not communicating, etc., I think that's to be expected, right? Like
Yep.
it's not the mode for people to try. However, I think that the where frustration is going to lie for a lot of people is that you've still got a bit of a split, which is you've got people that are playing standard to get the rank requirements, and they need to win those games, right? It's not just games played; it's games won. So maybe if the rank requirements were games played, it would not feel as bad, because then people wouldn't be like getting frustrated because it's like, hey, I played standard, but my team just isn't communicating. They're not trying, etc. And it feels frustrating. Like these games are hard to win because there's still MMR matching, as you said, right? Like you're not getting
Yeah.
put in complete random lobbies. Like
Exactly.
it still tries to match you based on your skill. So it's not like you get free games either. So the games you still need to try, and people are kind of all over the place as far as what they're doing. So it could be an idea to switch the rank requirements from wins. Like they could still have like the 60 win requirement, but let's say per hero, instead of being like, hey, you need 15 wins on a hero, or they could be like, you need like, I don't know, 20 games played or 25 games, or whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Maybe that would help a little bit, that part.
You could
Um,
do double. You could do like 10 wins or 30 games, right? Like so say you win 10 games in by 20, you can start playing ranked. But if you
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah, that's
lose
true.
lose lose lose
Yeah.
lose lose, like they'll be like, "All right, well, you've played 30 games. You've done your time, We'll put you in ranked."
Yeah, yeah, that could be an interesting thing where it's like, hey, if you're winning a lot, you'll unlock the right character faster because clearly you've got a better understanding of the character. If you're not winning a lot, you got to play the total amount of games. That could be an interesting solution. I actually don't hate that. Um, but yeah, I think to me that's probably the main thing in standard is like the problem with the regular queue before when they were all put together, right? This happened a little bit less at higher elos, but I would say for the average person, one of the biggest problems is that you'd have people that are like taking Deadlock really seriously. They're watching all sorts of educational videos, they're watching their own replays, they're like trying to improve, and they're getting put in with people that are basically playing troll builds, just having a good time. And there's nothing wrong with either of these people, right? Like both of
Yeah.
those people are justified in the way that they're playing the game because it's a game. You play it how you want to play it. But they're queuing in the same mode, and obviously their expectations are not aligned. And now I think ranked does a good job of that, where if you queue ranked, everybody cares about the game, and I think that that's been pretty apparent in my games. You're queuing ranked, everybody's taking it seriously. There's not really any trolling happening. Yes, sometimes some people are terrible, but they're not trolling. They might just have a bad game. It happens. Um, Whereas now standard mode still kind of has that issue because some people, like I said, they want to get to rank. Other people, they just want to chill. Other people, they just want to play with friends. So it's going to be a little bit of like a, I guess, melting pot of different things. But you said you had some ideas to improve it. So what would
Yeah.
you have in mind to improve standard?
So I think even though it is like the quote unquote casual, more like fun experience, I do think there still needs to be like a pretty rigid form of punishment for people that are like intentionally griefing games or being like overly toxic. I think that's just like a part of Deadlock that people are still a little bit frustrated with. But even when you're playing standard mode, I want to say that part brings it to another level because there's nothing to lose now. And so if someone wants to be toxic and they want to ruin your game, they will, and then nothing happens. And I did notice that a little bit more. Like people were kind of being, and when I say griefing, I don't mean like just like being bad on a hero that they're not used to
Sure.
playing, right? Like I mean, like we were. It's so funny because like the last game I played last night, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, huh, like these games have been pretty good. Like I haven't really felt like standard mode has been super rough or anything. And then like our wraith player out of nowhere gets like circled on the mini map once. There's 0-3-0. It's like 20 minutes into the game. They've done nothing but farm. They get circled on the map, like asking them to like split push, and they literally type some very not okay things, and then they hold the
Right.
tape their W key down in the fountain, and they just leave. And they leave for
Yeah.
25 minutes, and I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, it's because there's literally no punishment. They're like, I'm not losing rank. Like, I don't care, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
what is wrong? Like these types
Hmm.
of things should be addressed. And, in Dota, we have low priority. And I'm wondering if it's time, we added rank mode. I think it's time to maybe to whip out low priority mode
We do have low priority,
or,
and I just don't think you get consequences for like the casual, the standard games, right? But there is low priority in this game
so
already.
how does low priority work in this game? Because I've just never seen it or any of my friends get it
Yeah,
done.
yeah. No, it's been in this game for a long time. Actually, low priority has been in the game for a long time. The way that it works is basically right now when it comes to ranked, if you leave ranked games, so if you leave like one ranked game, you abandon. You'll get like a queue punishment where you won't be able to queue for like 30 minutes or whatever,
Yeah,
an
yeah.
hour, right? And then there's like ramping punishments. And then if you leave like two or three times, then you get low priority. I also believe that you can get low priority if you get like reported enough times, but I'm not actually 100% sure on this. There's probably other criteria, but I've seen some people like basically be stuck in low priority for long periods of time.
Good.
But yeah, and then
Okay.
you have to win a certain amount of games to get out of low priority. So it's pretty similar to Dota.
Okay, so it is. It's the Dota low priority queue then. All right.
Yeah, I just don't think that on like standard games have the punishment. Although I don't know for sure what the punishment is when you leave a standard game. Like if you abandon a standard game, like is there even any punishment?
I have no idea.
I actually don't know. So
I also like
maybe someone in the
AFK
comments can let
detection
us
and
know.
stuff. Yeah, like if like people just holding down the W key in the fountain, like that
Yeah.
stuff needs to get. There needs to be a way to detect stuff like that. It's super weird. But yeah, I mean, I would say
Yeah.
outside of that, where I feel like there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing for people to lose, so they can just like be super toxic or intentionally ruin games and kind of get away with it because it's not ranked and they're not worried
Yeah.
about losing anything, right? If they're just playing to practice heroes and that's it, it's a little unfortunate, but um I'd like to find a
Yeah.
way to come up with like reducing that type of like I would say attitude or like
Right.
Yeah, I don't know
Because
exactly
you
what
want
that
people to
is.
have fun, but like
Yeah,
at the end of the day, right? Like you don't want it to be a serious mode. You don't want people to feel like they have to try super hard. But when it's clearly like griefing and you're clearly just running it down for no particular reason, or you're just like selling all your items and buying magic carpet, or you're AFK and spawn, or you're like doing these things that are extremely intentionally griefing, there should be punishment. I do agree. I
yeah,
do think that if you get reported enough times for griefing, like you probably there's a chance that you get low priority. Although, like I said, there might be some other requirements because like people could just spam report. So I'm sure that Valve has some ways to
yeah,
like, mitigate just people just getting like harassed and spam reported. Um, but yeah, I do agree that like, you shouldn't be able to just grief games just because it's standard mode and it doesn't matter, right? Like
yeah,
it still matters to an extent. Some people are playing it trying to improve, some people are playing it for other reasons. But at the end of the day, nobody really has fun when someone just like runs down a game like that. I don't know about you guys, but that's never been fun to me, right? Like even if I'm not trying, I still want like a deadlock game that like plays the actual game. I'm not trying to play like a game where people just feed intentionally.
yeah.
So I agree with you there. Um, I do have another idea to kind of improve standard,
Okay.
which is something that we talked about previously. Um, we mentioned it briefly on the previous episode, but I want to like reiterate on this because I think it is important. So right now, well, I guess it would be two things, right? It's what I mentioned earlier. So one would be kind of like what you said. I think is a good idea of like instead of making the unlock requirements for heroes for ranked strictly wins, we can make it wins or games played,
Yeah.
whichever one you hit first. I think that would be good. And secondly, to help with the hero unlocks as well, I don't think there should be bans in standard.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
I'm okay with that changing as well.
at the end of the day, like if you really care enough to ban heroes, I think a lot of the time, yeah, and the thing is, like, if you're caring enough to the point where you're banning heroes, maybe you should consider playing ranked. And the other thing as well is like, it just feels really shitty to try to unlock your character for ranked, and you don't feel like you're making any progress. So it's getting banned. All right. And look, I understand that some heroes are annoying no matter the mode they're in. Look, trust me, like I'm banning McGinnis no matter what mode I'm playing. I completely get it. Um, but
Yeah.
it's just it doesn't feel right when you have to unlock the heroes for ranked, right? It's like in other games there might be bans in standard, but in other MOBAs you don't need to unlock heroes for ranked, right?
Yeah.
Like you just need to unlock ranked mode, and once you have it unlocked, you can play any hero in there. So considering Deadlock chose this unique approach of making it so you need to unlock specific heroes, I think it doesn't make sense to have bans in unranked.
Yeah, I think last night when I was playing, even the gamer I had, like, it was me and two others. We're like, all right, let's coordinate and we'll ban, this specific hero because we kind of don't really want to play against it. Like one of my friends is trying to, like, say, like learn Dynamo or something. We're like, okay, well, we have to
Yeah.
ban Sinclair, right? Like, we don't want to like have someone like be able to swap the Sinclair. So uh, even with the three of us, we don't get the ban. So on the same coordinated hero, and it is just like names in a hat, and then they just draw the two, right? So you're not like guaranteed to get a ban because you have the most nominations for a hero, right? Like that's just not how the ban system
Hmm.
works. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think at that point it's probably not worth it until yeah, the ranked requirements for heroes maybe go away. At that point, I would say it's maybe okay to put bans back in standard mode. But for now, while people want to practice
Sure.
heroes, I think maybe temporarily remove it. Um, give people the ability to kind of play whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Other than that, for standard mode, I don't really have any other ideas other than what you said. Like, I definitely think people need to be punished if they're just like actively griefing and doing stuff like that. But other than that, I don't really have a ton of ideas to make it better. I would be really curious to hear all of you guys' experience in the chat because you guys that are watching probably have like, combined way more experience playing standard than, you know, either of us. And so I'd love to hear what your experience with standard has been. I know there's been a lot of complaining.
Yeah,
However, people that are having a good time usually don't say anything either. So that's something to keep in mind, right? So if you're just playing standard with friends and you're having fun, please say something in the comments because I know people are usually quiet when they're having a good time, and the ones that are vocal are the ones that are not having a good time. And so I just want to see like overall Are people having a good time? Are they not having a good time? And if you have any ideas for standard to improve, I mean, you guys know Yoshi watches the Bear Pit. We all know this.
It's true.
He's
It's a
taken
fact.
many ideas that we've talked about like weeks before and implemented them directly into the game. So if you have any ideas to improve standard, put them in the comments. Put them in the comments and let's talk. I think it's always, I always try to, I know I don't respond to a lot of comments, but I do always like when I'm going on walks and stuff recently, I've been reading a decent amount of comments. So even if I don't reply, doesn't mean I don't see it. So, definitely let us know your thoughts. Do you have any further thoughts on standard before we move on to the next topics?
Not quite. Like I said, I think for me, the difference is because I'm playing in the like former Eternus, Ascendant, Phantom, and Oracle games, that it's kind of like it feels like it might be a little bit more of a like chill experience, I guess, because it's like it's somewhat fairly high ranked players that are just trying to maybe just not play ranked. So maybe it is
Yeah.
worse for a lot of the lower ranks, and it has been pretty rough. But just like I said, in my personal experience so far, the games that I've played, they've been
Mhm.
okay. Like I would say, like they're just not intense, but they're not bad, right? Like they're not like super try hard. It's a
Mhm.
great place to learn a hero right now, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I'll be interested to hear everybody else's perspective. I still have not like I told myself, okay, maybe I should play a little standard before the next Bear Pit episode. I still haven't played standard because ranked is like pretty grindy. And I was
Yeah.
talking about this. I'm Phantom 5 as of recording this. Almost Phantom 6. I'm like one win away from Phantom 6. So hopefully I'll be ascendant in not too long. But ranked it's pretty grindy. And I'm not really at a point in my life right now where I'm trying to like grind deadlock like super hard. So I've only played 71 ranked games, which is not, which is not that crazy. Like it's not that many compared to a lot of people. Like a lot of people have played like, I
There's
mean, if you look at Crayon, for example, he's got 154 ranked games. Most people that are like ascendant have like well over.
almost
I mean,
100
not everyone.
games. Yeah.
Yeah, most people that are ascendant have like 100 games. But there are definitely like some people that just have like insane win rates and have like way
I
less than
think
100 games that
ABL
are
and
ascendant.
Wander are like the two big ones that have like
Yeah, yeah.
75,
ABL is
76%
at a
win rates.
77% win rate. Wander's win rate has gone down a bit. Had an 80% win rate. He's got 75%, which is still,
Yeah.
very, very, very high, of course. Um, but yeah, like most people are kind of sitting like around like a 60% win rate with just like a ton of games played. Because the thing with the ranked system is that you climb as long as you have a 50% win rate, you'll climb. You can technically climb with a negative win rate, but it's pretty hard. But it's just like if you have an even win rate, you will climb, like guaranteed,
Yep.
essentially.
It's just volume.
Um, yeah, it's just volume helps a lot, but I just haven't played like enough volume really
Yep.
yet. And since I haven't played enough volume, well, every time I get a chance to play Deadlock and I feel like playing Deadlock, usually I prioritize playing ranked because it's like, well,
Yeah.
gotta rank up, gotta make it to Eternus. So I just haven't had a chance to play standard. Probably when I make it to Eternus, I'll probably like visit standard then and see like what can be done. Um,
When's the season
but
end
anyway,
again?
the season end October 7th. So like it's in almost 2 months still. So there's still a lot of time for me to hit Eternus. I think at the current rate that I'm going, I'll probably hit Eternus in like it's probably going to take like another 2 weeks because
Yeah.
I'm not playing that much. So I would guess like another 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks even to hit a Turnus, just because I'm playing like 6 games a day or something, like just like a not like a healthy number of games. Because I always take. I was talking about this before we recorded,
Yeah.
but I always take 2 days off of deadlock. And honestly, I would recommend anyone kind of do the same. I think it's incredibly important when you're playing a game as serious and competitive as deadlock to take breaks. I think it's great for your mental. And like the days where I don't have to play deadlock make me want to play deadlock more as well. Right. Like the days off that I have like make me feel excited when I come back to the game. It's like anything in life, right? Like if you don't take a break from things, you don't enjoy them as much if you're constantly doing something. So I think just having like days where you're like, hey, I'm not gonna play deadlock today. I think it's a healthy thing to do. And I would
Yeah.
recommend anyone watching this try it at least 1 or 2 days a week where you're just like, nope, no deadlock. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. That's great
Um,
advice. It's great advice. My partner and I, we take Saturday, Sunday off pretty much every week. And so it's like no
there you go.
computer, no gaming. It's just we go do other stuff. And then
Yeah.
Monday comes around and you're
Tough
like
grass.
it's like it's time to
Yeah,
go
it's
play some
time.
Deadlock.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, I'm a little weird with my schedule because I'm like, I'm not exactly a 9 to 5 worker. So my days off are Tuesday and Sunday, which are
Yeah.
not like followed. And the reason for Tuesday is just because I do stuff with friends on Tuesday. So it just like makes sense. And then Sunday was just so that I would have like one day where it would work with people working 9 to 5s where I can do stuff with them.
Yeah.
Um, Okay, let's move on to the next topic. So, away from standard, we've got two things to touch on. I don't know which one you want to do first, but we've got the Deadlock LAN that happened, which was Guildlock, which happened this weekend.
Yeah.
And we've got also talk about which heroes feel easiest to climb with right now?
I think maybe let's talk about the heroes because it's kind of a transition
Hmm.
of like, all right, we've played a little bit in standard. Let's move into
Yeah.
ranked and talk about maybe some of the heroes that we've noticed probably be some of the stronger heroes. I mean, even in standard mode as well, but some of the heroes that have maybe come out as um, I would say the best heroes to maybe keep an eye on at the moment. But I would say at the same time, we already kind of know McGinnis has been an issue.
Yep.
That's she's top of the tier right now, still with an absurd win rate. People finally figured out how to play her correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but because I have a couple heroes that I have seen, and I think it's because of their archetype that makes them very good in ranked right now. But I'm curious, like some
Hmm.
other heroes that you've seen, because you've played a lot of ranked. I still have not touched ranked. I've
Yeah.
only done standard mode, but I watch a lot of ranked, and so I'm curious if it's happening for you as well.
Yeah. Okay, so some of the heroes that have been okay, so there's the usual suspects, but I think that these suspects are like less likely to be dominating at the lower ranks. So when I do my tier list, so I did a tier list video recently. When I do my tier list, I always say, "Hey, this is from the perspective of a high ranked player, and your experience will 100% differ based on your rank because there's no such thing as just an objective tier list that is true for all ranks."
Yeah.
For example, heroes like Graves are like way better at lower ranks than they are at higher ranks.
Yep.
Like Graves is probably like legitimately almost OP at lower ranks, whereas like at very very high rank, she kind of feels like at best like a situational pick. Where
Yeah.
she has some good matchups, but if she's not into the goes good matchup, she gets blown up. Um, and on the contrary, McGinnis is just broken at every rank.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how good you are. In fact, she's more broken at lower ranks, but even at higher ranks where people like in theory know how to deal with her, it's not really possible. Um, so with that said, I think to me, three standout heroes that pretty much no matter your rank have been dominating for me are Billy Drifter and McGinnis. Those are three heroes that I think they've just like kind of risen above. And then I think Wraith is also in there as far as like a ranked merchant.
Yeah.
Um, where if she hits her timings, she feels almost unstoppable. And this is particularly true at lower ranks, but even at higher ranks, you have to invest a lot into the Wraith. It's just that in higher ranks, people are more capable of shutting down the Wraith. Like if they really lock in, like the teams can coordinate and buy counter items and really just like
Hmm.
try to not let Wraith play the game. Whereas lower ranks, the Wraith hitting her stride is eventually like basically inevitable.
Yeah.
So I would say that those are some of the standout heroes in my mind. One other hero that I would add to that list is probably Ivy.
Yep.
Whereas Ivy, I think, has been really, really good in ranked just because she's really consistent, very hard to shut down, and she's got great macro potential, like being able to move across the map with your ultimate like all the time with a teammate just has so much value. And then there's like the Doorman, Pocket Viscous, which I think are all like really insane heroes, but are not as good, especially in lower ranks, because they either don't have necessarily as much agency or they're very difficult to play.
Okay. So we actually had a lot of similar heroes, which is kind of cool. So I think Drifter has been like the number two hero for me with that like came up with McGinnis lately. I think part of it is his archetype and the fact that we are coming out of a rank squish where you have a lot of different ranked people coming through, and I think Calico fits this bill as well, where it's like
Hmm.
the people that are playing Drifter and Calico, if it ends up being the highest ranked person in the lobby that ends up on this hero, they end up finding the lower ranked people, and it kind of turns into them running the lobbies going like 10-0 in the first like 15 minutes of the
Hmm.
game, and then it's really hard to play, right? So I've been seeing
Yeah.
Quite a bit of that. I do also just agree that Drifter is really strong generally right now. I don't
Yeah.
think like I don't think this is like just a byproduct of kind of the multiple different versions of the ranks being together. But
Hmm.
I was curious if you had seen Calico at all because I feel like she also hit that
Yeah.
bill, but not as strong as Drifter, and so I think that's just why we're seeing more Drifter.
Yeah. I think Calico's really good. I put her in, so in my tier list, I have S tier and I have S plus tier. I put her in S tier. Like, I
Oh,
think she's
okay.
very good. I also think like Vindicta's stocks are like up a lot.
Vindicta is
I have Vindicta
crazy.
in S tier. Like, her damage output is just actually like unreal. Like, she's definitely like she's a little bit of a wraith type to me, where like if she doesn't get shut down, she will just insta kill you. Um, but she is a little easier to shut down than Wraith. She
Yeah,
doesn't have a TP, so not as much mobility. She doesn't get a shield as well. And she can struggle a little bit more to get solo kills than Wraith because Wraith has her ultimate to kind of do that, whereas
yeah,
Vindicta doesn't. So, definitely like a little different to a Wraith, but still like feels really, really powerful. Um, but like there's a lot of heroes that are strong right now.
yeah,
When I was making my tier list, I was actually like I was struggling to find heroes that are not strong, and I think a lot of the heroes that are not strong in higher ranks are actually still strong. For example, lower in my tier list, I have Graves and Seven, which I
yeah,
think if you're like lower rank, like they're both really strong. But I think in like high, very high level, like top 50, top 100 in NA or EU, I haven't seen a lot of Graves or Seven have success at all. But if you're just like average player, Graves and Seven are probably amazing, very solid heroes.
yeah,
And same for Paige. Paige, I think, is extremely vulnerable, but I think if you're just average player, she's probably quite strong. And the reason for this is like, the higher you go, the better people are at movement, but also identifying targets that are easy to kill. And I think Paige, Graves, and Seven are all essentially what I would call like victims, or like Wander also calls them that, in the sense that they're heroes with zero mobility, that if you jump them, they just die and they don't really have a whole lot that they can do. And most heroes that are meta, like if you look at the really strong heroes, um, the only hero that is meta that has no mobility is McGinnis. And the reason for that is because she gets 40% spirit resistance. And
yeah,
she also gets spirit resistance as part of her base kit, but her heal gives her 40% spirit resistance on top of that. So she's just really, really hard to melt down. But if you look at all the other heroes, like, I mean, Drifter kind of doesn't have mobility, but kind of does as well, because of
he's
his two.
slow, but he has the mark. Yeah,
Yeah, he does have the mark, so the mark can, help a bit. But most meta heroes have like a ton of mobility when you look at them. So you either need mobility, or you need to be like hard to kill, or you need to be like Drifter.
yeah.
And I've got a
Oh,
cat with me.
I was like, I saw the cat tail coming down
Yeah.
the corner. Oh, good baby. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think like I'm Seven is like my has been my competitive quote unquote competitive hero. Like if I really wanted to like win games and grind rank, like I would just go back on Seven because my win rate on the hero historically is insane. But I took him off my roster.
Yeah.
Like I straight up I was like, this hero just doesn't feel good. Like you win or lose based on your team a lot of times. And that's not like a great feeling. I think he can excel if you have like
I honestly
literally
think you just go old Seven.
yeah, I was like, he might excel if you have like four frontliners or something that can just like prevent heroes from getting to you. If you just have like a superior draft, but like
Well, I
I
think
don't
if you
know.
just go ult Seven, it doesn't really matter if people go on you, because you just ult in their faces, and you're pretty hard to kill, and people need to kind of like itemize to shut you down. That's honestly the Seven players that I've seen have like the biggest impact, is like Seven players that are building a bit more around ult in higher rank, because it's just harder to like kill Seven when he's building ult, right?
Yeah,
It's like the most survivable Seven build, and it's also like, if people don't buy things to shut you down and your ult lasts a really long time, like you can basically win the fight by yourself, because you're like, Seven ult is really like, it does do a lot of damage, and if you're not able to kill it, at the end of the day, he's just going to sit in the skybox and win the fight. He can win base fights, he can win rift fights, he can win some of the most important fights in the game. um he's not as good at the mid boss fight because he can't quite get as high on the skybox, meaning he's a little
yeah,
bit more vulnerable. But still, I think it's, at very high rank, it's not as good, but overall, it's still like a very solid pick for most people.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I think I'll maybe I'll give him a shot, but for now, I think
Yeah.
I've kind of given up on a lot of the M1 heroes, I'll be honest. Like I think a
Mhm.
lot of the heroes that I've
Okay.
identified as M1 and like heroes that I've played historically, I've kind of given up on a lot of them, and
Okay.
I'm going back to my roots. I'm playing Abrams again. I'm gonna go back to you know just playing some of the more kind of brawler team fighters like Drifter and stuff, like heroes that actually go in and like I don't know start fights or can get pickoffs are kind of where I'm just going back to
Yeah.
because I don't know, man. Playing M1 has gotten boring in this game.
Okay. What makes it boring for you?
Uh, I mean, have you? I mean, you've seen wraiths lately.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just that that's the gameplay. It's like you literally just hide on the map for 15 minutes straight, like just farming, and that is your whole game. And I mean,
Hmm.
some of it can be fun, and then like there's the power trip late game if you're strong enough of just like one shotting heroes constantly. But um, I don't know. I really enjoyed like engaging with people in this game. I think Deadlock really tries to push people to actually like fight
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. It does,
skirmish
yeah.
and playing like a carry, like an M1 carry where you're just like I want to go to these fights, but I know I die instantly if I do, and then I grief the game by showing up, and it's like that it just gets boring after a
Yeah.
while. And I think for a
Mhm.
while that wasn't the case, but I think right now with how like the power curve is on like Spirit being so freaking strong right now, and there's not what feels like a lot of answers to it besides like you just have to not get hit by the spells. Um, so it's yeah,
Well,
I
I
don't
think
know.
it's also like the power like balance in the sense that like a lot of these M1 heroes, like if you get them to their full power, like
Yeah,
they're just insanely strong. Like for example, if Wraith gets to her full power, she's really, really strong, right? Like
agreed.
very, very hard to shut down. So, it could be one of those things. I've actually been thinking about this. It's like, okay, like do we want these hyperscalers? Like, or do we want to like balance out it's something to think about. Like, do we want Deadlock to be a bit more traditional MOBA in the sense that okay, there's hyperscalers, but the thing about Wraith though is that I do think that on Wraith specifically, like yeah, on seven you're not really going to interact a ton at first, but on Wraith specifically, I do think that Wraith actually interacts a decent amount because of her ultimate. Like she's always pushing side lanes and always looking for solo
Yeah,
kills, and so
that's
I
the
think that she's
difference.
more like she's more interactive than like a seven would be, for example, or like a Venator, right? Where like seven and Venator, they don't really have like a ton of tools by themselves unless you really catch someone out of position. Like they need to be super out. Whereas Wraith has an ultimate to kind of like set up kills for herself, which most carries don't have, which is also, I think, what helps her because solo kills are worth so much money in this game. And
It's
she's one of the
absurd,
better.
dude.
She's one of the better carries at setting up for solo kills. So that's definitely helps her.
She's like a 1v1
Um,
machine. Like that's the thing is
yeah.
like if you want to try and gank her in a side lane, you can't bring a single hero. Like even if you're like one of the best skirmishing heroes, if she gets her ult and like has any
I mean, you
farm,
need you need something to deal with the ult,
yeah,
right? Like you need either you counterspell it or you have like a disarming hex so that even if she ults you, you can disarm her and she
yeah,
can't kill you. But even if you have disarming hex, if she's got four cards as she ults you, you might just die.
yeah.
Um,
And she
so
just
it's kind
deletes
of like
walkers, right? I think that's the other
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's why she plays side lane so much too. It's like someone has to address her walker push, and she
yeah,
does it so much faster than any hero right now. And if you
yeah.
show up and die and feed
Except
walker,
McGinnis.
she gets like 6,000 souls instantly, right? So it's
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah, I think she's been the only like M1 hero I've seen have a lot of success lately, and it's I
Well, I
think
think you can play McGinnis as an M1 and she can have a lot of success right now. And I think other than that, yeah, Wraith is definitely the best one. And then after Wraith, it's probably Warden and Venator.
yeah,
That can be both played like M1. The reality is there's not a lot of like quote unquote M1 heroes in the game.
yeah,
There's just not. And especially if you're talking about gun damage, like you talked about how strong Spirit is, but like there's just not a lot of heroes that actually do gun damage. Like Wraith doesn't do gun damage. Like
no,
Seven doesn't really do gun damage anymore. Like he used to do a lot more, but they nerfed that, right? So like Infernus is not gun damage. Infernus has one of the worst guns in the game. Mirage has a horrible gun as well. So a lot of the heroes that shoot their gun don't actually do that much gun damage. It's like, you're gonna have like a hero like Viper who's gonna do a lot of gun damage.
Geist
Someone like
maybe,
Geist can do a decent amount of gun damage. Yeah.
yeah,
Mostly due to Malice. She's got Amp, so that helps her a lot. Warden can do a decent amount. So you've got these heroes that can, but even the heroes that do a decent amount, very often they're like 50-50. Like even
yeah.
a Geist is probably going to be like 50-50. Because like Life Drain and her swap and her bomb and Malice are all going to do like a decent amount of spirit. So We'll see how Deadlock kind of like approaches it with the next major update happening. Who knows when?
The item
Hopefully
update.
not. Well, there's going to be item update, but there's also going to be the content update, and we don't know which one is coming first.
That's true. Yeah. I'd
It could
imagine it would
very
be the
much be the
item
content
update.
update first.
Really? Okay.
Well, here's the thing: if it was guaranteed that, why would Yoshi say we don't know which order they're going to come in? Like the logical order would be the item update first because it's
Yeah, yeah.
smaller, so you would think maybe it's ready first. But he specifically felt the need to say we don't know which order they're coming in, other than the matchmaking update is
Matchmaking's
first.
first, yeah. I don't know. Which
So,
which one do you want to see versus which one do you think it will be?
well, I mean, I want to see the content update. The item update, I have no idea what the item update will be. And like to be honest, it's been a really long time since the content update. Like in like what 10 days, it's gonna be 7 months or
Whoop,
something.
whoop.
Um, It was like January 22nd, I think. So right now it's August 11th. So in 11 days, it's going to be 7 months. Like that's a long time. Like 7 months is a long time. I want new content. I want the game to feel fresh. And I don't know if an item update is going to make the game feel fresh. Like even the matchmaking update, I mean, it's cool. Does it make the game feel fresh? Not really, but it helps a bit, right? It gives people a reason to play. Like I do think to an extent the matchmaking update is to stall, like buy time for the content update, which is clearly not ready. Um, and I think like ranked update gives motivation for players to keep playing, which it definitely worked on me. Like I definitely feel more motivated to play, and I'm sure it worked on a lot of people.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I definitely want to see the content update way more than the item update. I have no idea what the item update like even could be, right? Like it could literally just be like, oh, we added 4 new items to the game. And
Nah.
that'd be cool. I'd love some new items. That'd be awesome. But, you know, I think I'm more interested in like a bigger patch that either drastically changes the game in some way, adds new objectives, adds new heroes, just gives me
Yeah.
something that's like, okay, because I think about all the content updates before, and I'm like, man, I've had every time there's a content update, I have such a blast playing Deadlock
It's so
for like
good.
a month or two, and like I can grind that game like 8-10 hours a day and not even feel it. Whereas right now, like I play 5-6 hours of Deadlock, and I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I really want the art pass and the jungle rework, but we'll see. We'll see
Yeah,
what ends up happening, right? Like we don't know when it's
jungle
coming.
rework would be nice. Art pass? Are you talking about like remodels?
Remodels and the map. Like I want the
Yeah, yeah,
theming
yeah.
from each of the sides to start creeping out into the map, right? Like so it you can
Uh,
kind of tell which
right.
side you're of the map you're on.
Yeah, because they did the theming with the bases last
Yeah.
patch, but that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Like
I
the
want
bases have
guardians,
like a ton of
walkers,
personality.
everything, yeah.
Yeah, the bases have so much personality right now, but the rest of the map has a lot less. What I want most when it comes to the map is like the freaking the mid lane. I think the mid lane sucks. Like I think the mid lane is like
It
actually
does
one of
feel
the
pretty
worst.
rough to
Like
play in compared to the
I
others.
think it's one of the worst, like least interesting designed areas in the entire map. Like, there's a lot of problems with the mid lane. There's also some minion AI problems. There's a lot of issues, but regardless, without getting into the specific issues, like I just think that the area feels just worse than the previous area that was there, which was museum back in the day. Thought museum was much more interesting. So I'd love to see their approach on how they look at that, and maybe they're working on something, maybe they're not. I hope they are, but I guess we'll see. Whenever it comes. But
Yeah.
I hope the content patch isn't like too far away. Like obviously,
Yeah.
like like at this rate, August seems hopeful. I mean, I remember like a few months back, I was like, yeah, surely the content patch will be like late July, early August. Like, that would make sense. That'd be like 6 or like 7 months. Makes a lot of sense. And now we're like August 11th, and there's no news related to the major patch, which I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's like September or later. I mean, some people have theory crafted that maybe the end of the season is going to be the
Yeah,
patch,
I heard
right? Like
about that
October
one, yeah.
7th, which I think is not really a great theory because at the end of the day, I highly doubt that Valve has the capacity to predict patches to such accuracy 2 months in advance. I honestly don't think that they're able to do that. So I don't think that's true. I think that they just chose an arbitrary season length, and I think it's likely that we'll get the patch during the season, not like at the end. Although you never know with Valve.
You never
But
know.
we got a little sidetracked. We talked a little bit about some strong heroes, but do you want to talk briefly about the Guildlock LAN, which is a
Yeah,
LAN in San Jose that happened just
over the
this
weekend.
weekend,
Yep.
which was August 8th and 9th?
Yeah, so the Guildlock Invitational. This was basically just a an actual LAN, right? Like it had a
Yeah.
total of 8 teams, and a little over $5,000 prize pool that was put together just for the whole thing. I spoke to a handful of people that were actually there and got
Yeah.
to kind of experience it. I think the general consensus was that it was a ton of fun. Everyone that I
Yeah.
know that went had an amazing time. The venue was pretty much packed, like completely. Like there was like all the seats were taken. VIP seating was full. People were standing in the back. Um,
Yeah.
so that is super cool to see. And I think
Hmm.
Deadlock has like a pretty big audience for being a beta game. And that is
Yeah,
something
it
that
does.
people don't realize is like this game is still in beta. We have no actual like major investment from tournament organizers into the game.
Yeah.
And we managed to like have a LAN like that is community ran essentially that has um like essentially like a sold out kind of venue, which I
Yeah.
think for any game that would be very difficult to do. So I think for the future of like potential like Dota pro scene and like live events, I think that's a good sign, especially if we get like a major, right? Like a CS
Yeah.
major type of thing that pops up eventually, or like a Deadlock International, right? Like if Valve decides to announce
Yeah.
something like that, I think that shit's gonna go crazy if we get
For
something on
sure.
that scale.
Yeah, it definitely will. Yeah, what everything I've heard and everything I've seen as well, yeah, it definitely seems like it was a huge success. It was a blast, which is awesome. Awesome to see events run by the community. So shout outs to them. What I will say is, there's obviously like appetite for these events because like you said, Deadlock has a really big community, and there's also like very few events that are actually like Deadlock. So it kind of like ended up being like a mix of like, okay, we've got like the event, we've got like cosplay. There's probably some people like selling some pins and like basically like a mix of like a convention and a LAN at the same time.
Yeah,
Because it's like people love Deadlock and people just want an occasion to just meet up, talk about Deadlock, share the things that they love. There were so many cosplays, like way more cosplays. I think that like cosplay per like square meter was probably way higher than at like the average tournament. You know what I mean? Like people
yeah.
were like a lot of people were dressed up, which I think was awesome.
Also, shout out to the person that
Um,
won. Did you see their Paradox?
yeah, the Billy cosplay.
No, it was the Paradox one. Or am I?
Wait,
Wait,
really?
did I get it?
I thought the Billy cosplay one.
Okay,
Maybe
maybe I
not.
maybe I saw a different
Oh,
one.
I think the Billy cosplay. There was multiple categories. I think the
Oh,
Billy
okay,
cosplay won one category. I don't know which Paradox
okay, okay.
category the one, but they probably both
They
won
won
a
different things
category.
then, different categories then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Paradox cosplay was awesome as well. The Billy
Yeah.
and Paradox cosplay were both really, really good. There were some super solid ones. But yeah, I will say there were so it was basically the second LAN in North America. The first one was like over a year ago. And I was actually involved with it. It was a
Yeah, yeah.
long story. I don't really want to get into that story, but regardless, what I do want to say is that this LAN obviously was a lot more serious and a lot more like a lot bigger in scale, and it had actual like competition, even though like the only like top team that was actually able to get there with a full roster was Pauper's Pupils. They didn't
Yeah.
even have a full roster, but they almost had a full roster. And expectedly they kind of dominated
They didn't drop a
and
single
won the
game.
grand finals.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they won the grand finals pretty convincingly. um but still, there was like a lot of Eterna 6 players, well, old Eterna 6 players, right? There was a lot of top players that had competitive experience, a lot of top players in North America. Um, so I think that's awesome. And I think that, especially considering the location, like, I don't think San Jose is like the best location when running competitive events like that because it's like, when it comes to like Deadlock community, like a lot of people are East Coast.
Yep.
So it's like really far. So, like, when you consider that the fact that it probably wasn't even the best location and the turnout was still really good, that definitely gives like a lot of hope for the future. And I'm definitely like, I'm definitely excited to see, okay, like, can we make a LAN happen at Death Slam events at some point? So hey, I mean, if anybody watching this has a venue, right? The biggest problem with the LAN is always the venue.
Yeah.
Okay. So like if you've got a venue somewhere on the East Coast or Central, ideally not West Coast, East Coast or Central, and you know someone that has a venue that'd be willing to essentially give us the venue for free or very cheap, let me know. DM me on Discord, send me an email, deathydeadlock@gmail.com. Contact me in any way. Happy to talk because it looks like a blast, and I definitely would be down to make something happen as well. And we need more events,
We
and we need
do.
something for the East Coast people too. San Jose is a little far for me. Flights are hella expensive to San Jose for me. It's like over $1,000.
Yeah, I would say there is actually a big hub in the Bay Area of Deadlock players. I think if you were gonna host it on the West Coast, like that is one area where you
Yeah,
are like that's going to be the
yeah,
largest
for sure.
concentration of probably Deadlock players there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is a super expensive place to visit and to host a LAN. So for me,
What
I
about Atlanta? What would be the best location? Would Atlanta be good?
yeah, Atlanta's good.
It's like pretty central, right?
Yeah, Atlanta's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't say central, but
I
it's
mean, it doesn't seem that. I mean, it's okay. It's kind of southern, but
yeah,
I feel like
it's more southern for sure. But it's not, there's definitely going to be venues there. I think if you want like the Carolinas, like North Carolina, great.
mhm.
Probably not super expensive as well if you want to kind of go a little bit more on that side of the area, but um yeah, it's we'll noodle about it and we can maybe find some venues. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
in
sure we'll
Raleigh maybe.
yeah, dude, yeah, Riley would be that's where we did like a Dota LAN once and it was sick. Really cool spot. So, um
Cool.
yeah, but there's options. There's options for sure.
Yeah.
Um
Um. But yeah, I think the TLDR on the event was really cool. Check it out. I'm sure there's going to be VODs uploaded somewhere or something. Um.
I think so. Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much all there was to say about it. Congratulations to Poppers Pupils for winning. It was a lot of fun to watch as well. So I don't really have anything else to add. Just a fun event.
Yeah, it was cool. It's just super cool to see, and I'm glad it was a success because when it first came
Yeah.
announced, I was like there was like this big question in the air. I'm like, is this real? Like, I don't quite know if this
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
if this is actually happening and what's going on here. And so
It
I'm
was announced like like the only criticism of the event really is like the way that it was announced was like extremely strange.
yeah, I was unsure
And it
if it
wasn't
was a
announced
real
with a
thing.
prize pool. Like it was like, yeah, it was kind of weird. And it definitely raised some question marks, but obviously ended up all working out, which is awesome. So no problems there. But yeah, definitely like if they host another LAN, I would recommend as far as the announcement goes, before you announce the LAN, ideally have all the details figured out, including the prize pool, so that people know like what they're flying out to. I think people have so much appetite for an event like that right now that it didn't matter.
Yeah,
But I think in the future, like if you announce an event and you don't even mention a prize pool, that's definitely like something that you want to avoid.
esports in general has just been a space where people have gotten burned a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been scammed out of a ton of money from tournament organizers that just like refuse to pay their workers, and so and
Yeah.
like this is like in Dota, right? Like what is supposed to be like a premier
Yeah.
esport, like a Valve sponsored event, and then like we just don't get paid. So it's you never really know like the the
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. So yeah, I'm glad this was not that scenario. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
I'm
Yeah. It's
glad this
awesome.
was
Yeah.
real.
Esports
People
is
had fun, and it was a good time.
yeah. It's definitely yeah. Esports it kind of sucks in the sense that there's just so many
There's a lot of bad
untrustworthy people.
actors.
Yeah, a lot of bad actors, and the thing is, people in esports are so easy to take advantage of, because everybody does it for passion, right? It's like obviously, for you, for example, I'm sure it's a dream come true to be able to like cast these events and like, potentially make a living doing so. And for me, it's a dream come true to be able to like play video games, etc., and make money from doing so. And so like when people are in that situation, they're like, yeah, I'd love to do that, and it's my dream. That's when people are most vulnerable and easiest to take advantage of because they're willing to ignore a lot of red flags for like potential things that
Yeah.
might happen.
Yep.
So sorry, my mom was calling me. Had to decline the call. Sorry, mom. The bear
Sorry,
pit comes
mom.
first. I'll call her after. Um, now the next thing we wanted to talk about briefly, and this episode's not going to be too long because I've got a dentist appointment shortly, so I don't have too much more time. But we were going to talk about the Meet the Gargoyle animation that's been going around. I think it's got over 1 million views now.
It
That you said. Let
cracked
me
the
actually.
million. Yep, it cracked the million views. This oh my god, is so cool. I was so stoked to see this.
Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, if you haven't seen it, hopefully you have because it has made the rounds. But this is by That Gray Cartoon Pony. They're an animator.
Yep.
They've done a bunch of cool stuff in the past, and they basically took the format from TF2, where they would do kind of like the intros to some of the heroes, right? Like meet the and then like insert character name,
Yeah.
right? So they took that format and they did it with, of course, the community's favorite Gargoyle. And what a video, man. It is legitimately S tier. It is so good, so
Oh yeah.
polished. It blew me away that this was. I
Hmm.
thought when I got the link to this that this was a Valve publication. I'm not. I legitimately
Literally,
thought.
yeah.
I thought it was something Valve made. I was so confused. Um, so
I mean, the
I'll.
facial expressions alone
It's
on the
unreal.
Ivy. So if you guys haven't seen it, like the facial expressions are so human like she has so much personality in the
Yeah.
video. It's incredible. And as someone who grew up playing TF2 and played a shit ton of TF2, and I've seen all the like meet the spy, meet the scout, meet all
Yeah.
these videos, it really was reminiscent, that obviously it was very inspired from that style, right? I mean, even the
Yeah.
title, meet the gargoyle, so like it's clearly they were taking inspiration from that style. And I mean, it just shows to me like how much potential like the Deadlock cast has, and how like, I mean, to be honest, like I think a lot of the Deadlock characters, I'm not really someone that cares about lore usually. I'm more of a gameplay guy.
Yeah.
Like I've thousands of hours in Path of Exile. I don't really know what goes on in that game. Like, I have no idea. But
Nobody does.
when it comes to Deadlock, I think a lot of the characters are just like super charismatic, and Valve has done such an incredible job designing them. Regardless of what you think of their gameplay, even the Lash, who has like the one liner backstory of like he's an asshole, but he's got so much personality and nuance in his voice lines of like, yeah, he's an asshole, but he's got a charity for children that kind of suck, right? Like he's not actually that bad a guy. He's just kind of an asshole, and he's full of like hubris and pride and all that stuff. But he's actually like, not really looking to do bad in the world. And you've got Ivy in the video who like, you can tell that she's like, she looks like a monster because she's a gargoyle, right? But she's got like a heart of gold, right? Like she's really
Yeah.
looking to help people and just make a difference in the world and all of that stuff. And I think that obviously none of these are archetypes that have never been done, but I think they're just done so well
They're
in
done better.
Deadlock, and the
Yeah.
voice lines, like the animation. I don't think people realize this, but the animation that great cartoon pony did used voice lines. Like there is nothing was recorded for this animation. No voice lines were recorded. It was entirely voice lines from in game, as well as a visual novel.
Yeah.
So there were visual novel tracks that were available in the game files, and those were used for that. So everything that Ivy says in the video was basically like recorded officially by Valve at some point. It was just used for that,
Yeah.
which is kind of unbelievable because like she talks about like breakfast items and like some random stuff, but it just works really well. So like huge props to Great Cartoon Pony for like taking a bunch of voice lines and making a story that makes a ton of sense out of it. I don't know if it was exactly already structured like that, or if they did like a bunch of like restructuring. I wouldn't be surprised if they had to do a bunch of restructuring for it to work. But still, it doesn't sound. It sounds like the voices were recorded specifically for the video.
Yeah. It's incredible. And I just can't wait to see more stuff like this. And I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think Valve has always been the best at designing characters and designing heroes.
Oh yeah.
I don't even think it's a competition. Like the personality of heroes, like in Deadlock, as well as things like Dota, just
Hmm.
far outpace any of their competition. It's not like there's really no way to describe it other than the fact that like every single hero, 117, 118 heroes in Dota, all have unique personalities and conversations, and like the amount of detail that they put into like building out the personality of every single hero that they do carried into Deadlock, and you can really see it. And we've talked about it several times. It's like this is the kind of stuff that you get out of it, right? A community that like
Yeah.
really bonds and finds like
Yeah.
their hero that they really love, and I just can't wait to see where like like more stuff like this in the future.
Yeah, and I think it's especially harder because, for Valve, I mean, it's a completely original IP, right? So like when
Yeah.
you look at a game like Marvel Rivals or something, I mean, they're working with the Marvel IP. Um, you know, it's pretty easy to just make characters that people like when you're working with an existing IP that people are already attached to. You just need to stick to the tropes of the character and like the way that it's usually done. And as long as you do like a an adaptation that is adequate with the source material, I mean you're going to be fine probably. But like with Valve having fully original IP, it's even harder. Also, small correction, just in case someone noted, but there's actually 128 heroes in Dota. I figured your number was wrong.
I was like, yeah.
Um,
I honestly I haven't kept number on. I haven't really stayed up to date with the number ever since they broke like probably 120. Yeah, I think Underlord was like
yeah,
118, and then there's a bunch of heroes since then.
yeah, it's sitting at 128, which is funny because I googled it real quick and then the AI told me 127, but never trust the AI guys. I went on the Liquipedia. Liquipedia says 128,
Thank you,
so I'm
thank you.
much more inclined to trust Liquipedia than the AI on this. I'm assuming the AI just isn't up to date, but
It's not.
regardless, yeah. Um, that's pretty much it for this episode. Since I gotta go soon, get
Yeah,
ready
yeah.
for my dentist appointment. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Uh, Not really. Shout out to Guildlock for a very successful
Yeah,
LAN, and shout out to everyone who went and attended and helped support it. And um, hope everyone had fun. That's like about it. Like honestly, I want to hear like if you watch the Bear Pit and you went to that event, tell us in the comments below like how was it? Your favorite thing, your least favorite thing.
yeah,
Try to be kind because I'm sure it was a lot of work for them.
oh
And
yeah.
then yeah, we've already asked a little bit about people's experiences with standard mode and stuff like that. So we'll kind of see what people got to say.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. That's all for today, and we will catch you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.